Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello,
Good morning,
hello.
everyone. Good morning.
Dana, how are
Yes.
you this morning?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, no, you're muted, honey.
I'm doing great.
Have you had your coffee yet?
I slept in.
Oh,
We had
did
my
you?
dad's 75th birthday last night. We were on the phone late, so I had a few drinks and I slept in this morning. So
Oh.
now it's cold coffee.
Oh, we're excited because we are talking with our friend today, Rollie Allaire from Virginia Gap in Haileybury, Ontario. She is presenting really her fourth annual, actually, Women's Inspiring Women Conference that we both attended last year. That we just had an amazing time, and we're just blown away with all the events and the speakers that were there, and the chance and the opportunity to actually attend this conference. And it was, I'm still getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It was just such an amazing event. And this year, because of all the stuff that we're going through, it is actually a virtual event, which is so much more actually cool because it ends up being a global event. So I'm going to just hand it over to Rollie, and she's going to explain a little bit more about it and hopefully introduce a whole new audience to it as well too. So take it away, Rollie.
So I'm super excited and super nervous. So I was actually just chatting with somebody earlier this morning, and this feels like my very first event, right? So it's like, although it's the fourth year and I've got like the rest of the planning under the belt, but it's like, oh my gosh, like this is just crazy. Because like it's just a whole new ball game when you have to do the virtual thing as opposed to the in-person, right? So it's in-person is like we schedule we figure out what the catering is going to be serving and what's going to happen that way, and setting up and laying out the room. And so we're still doing all that, but virtually. So we're still setting up a room. We're obviously not doing the catering. You guys are on your own for catering.
You mean you're not serving coffee, Rollie?
I can try, but I'm
Can you imagine if you could do that? You would have lunch arrive at everyone's home at the same time. That would be such a hard thing to orchestrate, but very cool.
That would be really super cool.
Yeah.
But definitely not in my first year. Maybe in a couple of years from now, I'll consider that, but definitely
if
not.
We lived in the world of the Jetsons, it would certainly work that way, right?
Actually, that's right. We're probably not very far off from the Jetsons.
I don't think we're very far. Yeah, not very far.
Kids nowadays that are listening to us going like the ones that are in their 20s or earlier are going like the Jetsons.
The Jetsons.
Yeah, but they're saying, what's wrong with that? Why can't you do that?
Well, you could. You honestly could. You could, let's say if you had a cooking episode in part of the conference, right? You could have Fresh Co. or whatever that Fresh Box company, you would have it delivered to their house that day, and then they'd be part of a cooking demonstration as well. So that'd be kind of cool. See?
That would be kind of cool. So is Fresco
food for thought? No, I don't know. What are they called? What are the boxes
Hello
called?
Fresh.
Hello Fresh, yeah.
Or
but is that global?
Yes.
Is it?
No.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'd have to find something that would be global or equivalent too.
See, there's my food for thought for the day. I've left it. Someone will grab it.
It's okay. For my human design, I'm a generator, so now my brain's going. And it's like,
I know. I'm so sorry.
You started it there, Dana.
My husband's going to thank you for that one.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Sheldon.
That was free. There's no charge. But I'm sure it does. I mean, sure, lots of people.
So what's really exciting this year is that we have 17
it's a bit of a headache doing that as well. Can you hear that?
That's okay, Dana. Keep going.
Just shut that
off. We can hear you now.
No, I was going to say the even with doing gift boxes, right? But Canada Post has been messed up, and the shipping, and that's a big pain in the butt for sure, because even all across North America, the postal has been changing with these outbreaks and well, I won't say overuse of Amazon, but people, it's just been crazy.
Overuse of Amazon. I agree with that statement.
Well, it's crazy. Some people are just, well, I mean, that's fine. That's just what they do, and that's great. And but like, look how busy the shipping lines are, and look how busy Canada Post is. And they had that outbreak in Mississauga, so I'm sure there's lots of people all across Ontario still waiting for things. So
yeah. So this is it's a really different time that we're in. So it started off literally right after our conference for us.
Yes, I remember.
Like, things going on, and I was getting, because I was just so engulfed in what was going on with the conference. And I remember somebody sending me a message the week before saying, "So are we still on? Are we not canceling?" And I'm like, "Canceling? Why are we canceling? Like, I don't understand. Why were we canceling?" I'm like, "No, we're still going." And they're like, "Well, because of this pandemic thing that's happening." I'm like, "Well, I don't know anything about a pandemic, and we're still on." So unless somebody tells me otherwise, we're still going. But it was literally the week after the conference that we ended up shutting down and being.
I remember, because that was the last time I was able to get out and do anything.
So, and I was just on my wound down time, right? Yeah. So I always have 1 week after the conference that allows me to be able to wind down and just kind of getting things going. And I was just starting the following week with the kids March break program. And then it was like, okay, kids aren't allowed to come anymore. So it was like, okay, cancel the entire week. And that's kind of where things kind of started off. And we're still haven't moved very much forward from where it was that we ended.
No, and I think didn't they postpone March break this year?
And they did. They postponed March break. Let me try that again with my new tongue. So they postponed it until the end of until mid-April, I think. Mm-hmm. So I think it's probably going to be in conjunction with Easter from what I can actually tell from the dates. But I didn't actually go and look at the calendar. But from what I can tell,
that'll give you more time to organize a March break getaway for the kids anyways, and hopefully doors will be open a bit better come that time, because you focus a lot on youth, and part of your programming at the Bridging the Gap is youth, which has blown me away from even the first time that I met you. So it was incredible.
Well, and because I work so much with women that have anxiety, like that's typically, that's like my ideal client or whatever, is that, so they have, but a lot of times is the kids are experiencing either because moms have anxiety or that they also have anxiety. So like there's all these different things, and like with all the world stuff, and now it's even worse, that kids would just have like this baseline anxiety for the most part of the different things that are going on. They have those additional stresses and all those different things. So my thing was being able to teach kids to be able to manage stress and anxiety at a younger age, so that when they actually get to move forward, then they already have those skills already under their belts already, so that it just gives them that little bit of a oomph. And one of the things that is really cool is being able to see how these kids, because I've still been able to continue with some of the kids doing some of the programming, is and so the kids have been able to come up with their own meditation. So we've actually had different experiences where they've actually learned to share their own meditation. So they've come up with a script, and everybody else lies down or sits down, whatever it is that we're doing for that meditation period, and they actually walk their peers through a meditation, bringing them back into their body, slowing down their breaths, and getting themselves out of thought, and then allows their third eye to be able to open up and have a whole lot of conversation. And that's what we do when we're done, is have a conversation about, okay, what did you see? What was the vision? And sometimes it's very, very much exactly what it was that the meditation was, the guided meditation was. But one of the things that I think is really awesome is when the kids, their third eyes open up and they're like, oh my God, I saw these colors and I saw these images and I saw these other things. I don't even know what Joe was saying, but I heard all these other, I heard and saw all these other things. So it's really cool to be able to see that, see them be able to go through that stage. So I love it. And one of the programs that I have not been able to re-implement at this point because of all of the guidelines is too complicated is the Mom and Tots program. So that one there was where we would have moms and their little ones come in, and while the kids are still doing all the rest of the things, because we can't stop them from moving, and then we would actually teach moms how to be able to bring their them back down into that relaxed state. So I really miss that program, and I really can't wait till we can do that again. But with little people, it's too hard to try and manage all of the regulations and all the rules around all the touching stuff. So little ones tend to put things in their mouths on a regular basis. So that's a little bit more challenging. But yeah, so it's beautiful. I love that experience of being able to have that part. And so the women's conference actually ties into the girls' self-esteem program. And so that's one of the goals with the conferences, which again, we didn't get to have last year. So next year, planning on having two, but where we get to have the girls come together and have that experience of working on their self-esteem and being able to build that confidence. And so as much as it's for us as moms and women to be able to interact and build all those things for us, is that the resources from the conference actually goes back into being able to do this. And the goal is to do it annually. And like I said, as soon as we have limited restrictions, because then it's a camp-in for the girls, right? So the girls get to come and be part of that whole part of things together. And so it really, truly is incredible to be able to see how they, how we as women expand. Like, it's really transformational for us. But it's even collectively, the transformation that we see is incredible. And you guys have actually talked about it from the beginning, where you're like, oh, well, we did this last year, and like it was so uplifting. And that was being as being an exhibitor last year. And so Dana is speaking this year. So like, that's pretty cool. And we have 17, and because of the fact that we're global, we have 17 women that are going to be speaking, which is up from, we normally would have 13, and up from that. And then we have 9 women who are also going to be sharing in the back end with their presentations that are actually going to be, they're available for people to be able to go back and access. And then the other part that's super exciting is that this year, all of the speeches get to be, all the presentations are recorded. And so we have access to them like later on. So we actually get to go back and listen to, oh, what was it that Dana was talking about? Oh yeah, I want to really go back and hear what it is that she had to say. What was that example that, I really like that example that Amy was giving, but because I know that I've had that where it's like, oh, okay, I don't remember what Emily said last year, where I know that there was something that she said, but I can't quite get my finger on exactly, because it was that aha, and it was really helpful, but I need to go back. And because most of the people that are there, a few people would take notes, but most people aren't taking notes when the presenters are there, because it's just so dynamic in that conversation and being able to have those interactions. And then when they're done, we're then having conversations with our neighbor, trying to like, oh, well, did you notice that? Or like, yeah, that really applied to me too. And like all those conversations, which we still get to have even doing it virtually. So we're going to be in a room like we're doing right now, where we actually get to connect with each other and have that space. And so I'm really excited about being able to hold space with so many beautiful women, and globally. So women from the UK, women from Australia. I think in total, I think we have 6 of our speakers that are coming in from the UK and Australia. If I'm not mistaken, it's 5 or 6.
Wow.
And so it's pretty incredible that like they're going to be in the next day, and we are as we kind of get things started. So I'm pretty excited about those connections of being able to, and now I can't even think of her name. Sharma is her last name, Karishma. So Karishma was saying this morning, it's like those people, those of us across the pond. So if she lived in Ontario, she would know that that means Quebec. But
well, you're in Haileybury, so yeah, that would be for you guys. For us, it would be the Manitoulin.
Yeah, exactly, across the pond.
So it's, but it's
so
funny how we have those sayings that kind of take us into like the different spaces, right? So for us, it's like, oh, that means Quebec. Like they're talking about Quebec. And I know that for us, and I don't know about the other regions, but I know that for us, that's because, and I can say this because I'm French. So it is, the frogs live on the other side of the pond, right? So and that's where that saying comes from. But I know that, but like I said, I'm French, so I'm okay with that. That's not offensive at all, or at least if it was, it's not anymore, because like it's just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I know I'm French. I talk with my hands. I jump all over the place. Like, yeah, no, that's just me. I'm okay with it. So
I wanted to ask you. I know the conference it's coming up on the Women's International Day or International Women's Day, March 5th through 7th, I believe it is, or 6th. Where did you come up with the idea or the theme this year?
So actually, that's funny because I actually come up with it as soon as I'm done with the planning of this year. Then I come up with next year's theme.
I remember you actually did come
so
up.
I don't know. I wake up in the morning and like it's just a divine message that I have. Is like, this is what your conference needs to be. And so last year, and I don't know what it was that triggered it or whatever, I woke up and it was like, okay, so this is the theme for next year. Like I was done all the planning, everything else was ready to go for last year, and I was like, okay, this is the theme. So so far I haven't had any like because I'm still right in the thick of all the organizing and planning. So but I haven't had any messages yet as to what next year's conference is. But like that's typically how I come up with it. It's just appears. So I know
it was just funny because I've seen this theme so many times in the last little while. Obviously, you were the first one that came up with a theme because, again, it was probably like March 10th, something like that. Because I remember when you did it, it was like days after the last conference that you came up with the new theme you were telling us. But it just seems like this year, within the last 6 to 8 months, everybody seems to be having this theme right now, and it just seems to be so pertinent that it's just, I was like, wow, it was coming from someplace else that for you, which was really kind of gives me goosebumps a little bit to think
actually
about it.
I was just gonna say I just got the goosebumps that just crawled all over my arms because it really is like. And like you said, like I never even paid attention to that, but you're right. Like there is so much about the self-love and the I am enough. And what's really ironic is that we've actually had this year where we are really trying to go within and trying to figure out where we actually fit, how all of these things kind of come together. And so the fact that I actually had when I shared it with all of you guys, I already knew what it was before that because it was before the conference, because I already had the website page and everything was already ready to go. So because it's just that download. And a lot of the things that I do is I operate from that download of whatever I'm supposed to be sharing, whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I've kind of shifted away from doing that whole type A personality of like making sure that 100% of things, like I still need to make sure things are in a row, but I mean, like not as tightly as I used to after my very first conference. That was my first experience of you need to just let go and let God. So however it is that you want to make that statement, like I know that that's a quote from when I was a kid. So it's like, let go and let God. And my grandmother used to say that to me all the time. And I'm like, you're crazy. Like, God's not going to come with my stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Because my grandmother was very religious. And it was like, yeah, no. And she's like, no, seriously, you need to just let go and let God. And I'm like, okay, whatever, Grandma. Like, I don't know what you're smoking, but like, I don't know. Right. But now and 4 years ago, that was one of the things that I had to experience because like nothing went according to plan. Everything was completely opposite to what it is that I was planning, and speakers didn't show up, and there was like timeline loops that we had to. Other speakers stepped up to say, okay, well, so we had some different exhibitors that happened to be there, and they heard us talking about like, okay, this person canceled and that person canceled as they were getting their booths set up, and they're like, and so I had 2 or 3 people that said, hey, I can help. I can help. I always have a presentation that's like on standby that I can just pull out of my hat. And I'm like, okay, perfect. This is great and fantastic. And they're like, so what is it that you want me to talk about specifically? I'm like, this is the theme. So just go with it. And what was really interesting is how it actually really fit with all the different things that were going on. And we had, so my topic for that year, my first year, was about my experience of whether or not I would stay in my relationship or end my relationship based on circumstances that were going on. And I stayed in my relationship, but yet there was somebody else that was like just a magical speaker that appeared because they were replacing someone else. And they said, so the one person who was supposed to be speaking said, I can't be there. There's a bunch of things that are going on, but I have somebody in mind that can just show up and be there. And so when she showed up, her conversation was complete opposite to mine. It was like not staying in the relationship. So it was like just this really neat thing where you had the yin and the yang with because there's no right or wrong. It's just what's going on in that particular moment. So it was just really interesting to see how those dynamics and stuff come together. And that's one of the things that I find with the conference is that if you actually look at, so yes, I have a theme, but when you actually go back and look at the conference, and even from last year, is the conversations that they have and how they and the things that they bring forward and how they actually kind of enmesh together, right? So like the year before, there was a theme about water. Like everybody who was presenting all came back to something to do with water. So whether it was tears, whether it was bodies of water, whether it was meditation with water, like there was just so many different intricate things that brought everything back to water. And so it was really cool able to see how all of that came together. So
amazing. It's amazing. It's going to be an amazing weekend. I just can't wait. For years and years and years, I've always celebrated International Women's Day, but this just makes it kind of like the cherry on top of the cake to be able to be surrounded and be in company of so many incredible women that are just so knowledgeable and so powerful and so in that same head frame as where I've always kind of wanted to be, being around a bunch of strong women, to be able to empower each other and raise each other up and educate each other and feed off of each other and just, raise that power all together. And I think that's kind of what attracted me to the whole situation, is because I believe women to be so incredibly a powerful entity onto our own.
Yeah,
I don't know, you want to take it back to history or whatever and all these different things, but I just, for some reason, that's just what I feel inside. And coming to a conference like this with so many like-minded women, whether they believe the same thing or not, we're just all women and we're all very powerful and just, bringing that message of I am enough and self-love and everything else is just, and like I said, more goosebumps here.
Well, and one of the things that I think is really cool is where they come together. Yes, we have like very powerful speakers and we have powerful exhibitors that are going to be sharing their products or services of all the things that they have come together. But then we have, but where I feel the power, like the main power comes from, is that as these messages are being shared and as we're collectively thinking, and again, it all comes from those different beliefs. So like it all depends on where it is that you're coming from those different beliefs in terms of our spirituality, because it all comes from different sources or different beliefs and different systems or whatever. You don't have to believe in this particular thing in order to be able to get the message. You don't have to believe in this particular thing to be able to get this message. It's just that whole collective, like you said. But where I find is the most powerful, like that most powerful nugget, is when the women actually who are participating and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. Or they just say one thing that just brings down the entire room, right? Yeah. So we had one particular share last year that I don't think there was a dry eye in the house, and she wasn't a speaker. And so when she shared from her heart about what her experience was, about where things were at, based on what was said, I don't think that there was any one of us that had a dry eye when she was sharing. And she wasn't one of the speakers. She wasn't one of the planned people who were going to share. This was coming from her heart and her expressing where it is that that she was coming from and how that was happening. And the year before, we had we had one particular lady who there was like so many different things that were coming forward, and we had the grandmothers that were actually there. And at the very end, it wasn't planned. The one grandmother said, "There's a special song that I need to sing, and it's the Eagle song, and I need to share this." And she said, "There's somebody in this room that needs to have it." And I'm getting teared up listening. I'm even just talking about it, because it was like, and we all knew exactly who that message was for, without it even being expressed as to who it was for. And it was just so amazing how all these things just kind of come together. And like I said, this was not the lead grandmother, so she wasn't the one who had planned like which songs that they were going to sing or what teachings they were going to share. And so it was just amazing, because it was just that part of that collective again of what it is. And there was other people that still needed to hear that same message as well. But there was one particular person that was like, that was definitely that the spirit had actually come forward to say that is for that particular individual. So it was pretty powerful. And it was like, it's indescribable without having attended these different powerful moments. It's like, it's not the same. And we actually get to still participate and have those powerful moments through the breakout sessions and through lunch hours. And even though you have to bring your own lunch,
maybe next year, Rollie.
Well, Dana's got me thinking now, so.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dana's full of good ideas.
And next year we're going to be doing it a hybrid event. So we're going to be doing in person and virtual. So like that's the interesting part that's going to be happening. So, and that was already planned. That one there was already in the works, because it'll be our 5th anniversary. Nice. But the universe said, no, you need to do this one globally, virtually first before you do the hybrid. So it's like, okay. So I jumped in both feet. Don't know where I'm going, but that's where we're at.
The only way you learn most of the time is just to jump in with both feet. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit about the conference today. I've put in the comments where you can reach Rollie Allaire and where you can register for the conference coming up. Rollie has a beautiful little shop in Haileybury called Bridging the Gap. If you ever get a chance to go to the Tri-Towns, I don't even know if they call them that anymore, Haileybury, New Liskeard.
Those of us who live here do.
Yeah, that area. If you do, please check out Rollie's little shop. She's amazing. Yeah, we're all open now. I have to think about it. Lots of wonderful things. I have to actually stop in and get some more of those leggings next time. I think I might be coming in this weekend. But yeah, and have a chat with Rollie, have a cup of tea. It's a home. It's our home away from home when we go to visit. It's such a comforting, warming place. If you book in early, you could probably get a chance to get a massage from what's his name again? I forget. Jeremy, that's it. Yeah. And, for those of you that are in the Tri-Town areas, if you want to have your live blood done, a nutritional consult or a thermography, you could definitely connect with Dana and I, because we do go up there on a regular basis
and the foot detox.
And the foot detox, definitely.
My favorite.
To do these sessions with everybody. So, definitely get in touch with Rollie with regards to this conference, though, because it's an amazing thing. You won't soon forget. So any last minute words, Rollie or Dana?
So the last minute words are that registration closes this week for you to be able to get your so that we can actually ship out, because like as Dana was talking about the whole shipping, so our swag boxes are going to be going out on Monday. So we need to get them all ready by Sunday. So registration will be closing on the 20th. So it was supposed to close on the 18th, but we've pushed it back a little bit just because we're not filling the boxes until Sunday anyway. So we're okay that way. But definitely needs to be done beforehand, so that way there you can actually get your packages. And of course, anybody who's closer will get them sooner than than those that are overseas, but
Yeah.
they're all definitely going to be coming, and looking forward to that. But registrations are definitely closing. And one of the things that I've been saying and mentioning in the last few conversations that I've been having is that if you're kind of on the fence because it's like, okay, well, I don't know if I can actually manage the financial aspect of it, please reach out to me and let's see what we can figure out so that we can still allow you to be able to participate. So let's see what kind of things that we can come up with so that I'm pretty creative. So we can try and come up with some different ways of being able to come up with a way for you to be able to still participate in this event. So, so looking forward to connecting with you girls for the weekends, and then looking forward to you guys coming back into the Wellness Center, because we certainly missed you. And of course, we've got all of the regulations, so we've got certain things that we need to follow and all the protocol stuff, and it keeps changing every time that something else happens. But you know, we just keep kind of plugging away with it, and it's not forever. So we just need to kind of plug through these little bridges and be able to get there. Hence, bridging the gap, right?
So, there you go. Yeah. Flexibility is key. Thank you so much, Rollie, for joining us this morning. And yeah, please, everybody, just check out the sites and, you know, make some time for yourself, because you are enough. And that's the main theme of it. You deserve this kind of conference. You deserve this kind of connection. And I can't say anything more about it than that. So we'll shut it down there, and join us tomorrow morning as we come back for 9 o'clock. Bring your coffee and we'll have a chat. Take care, everybody.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.